Hello everyone. Today we are going to start with our new chapter, that is lesson number 1, matter and its composition. Here I am sharing one PPT with you all. Matter. Now dear student, about matter you have studied in grade 6th. Right now you all are surrounded by various things such as table, chair, your laptop or computer, the air, and so on. We can see and touch most of these things. Yes or no? So these things which we can see or touch, we call them as matter. However, there are other things which we cannot see or touch, but yes, of course, they are capable of changing matter. Now, just tell me, what are that things? Do you have any idea? These invisible things are called energy, such as light energy, heat energy, sound energy, correct? And the world around us, the things around us, all are together made up of this matter and energy. Now let's go further. Now we will study in detail about matter. Anything around us is called matter. Now the first point which we are going to learn is about definition of matter. Anything that has mass and occupies space is called matter. For example, pen, pencil, your textbook, duster, the food which you eat, we ourselves are also examples of matter. The next point is about mass. The amount of matter that a body contains is called its mass. Now let me tell you students, mass is such a thing which remains constant wherever you go. Even if you go on the moon, still the mass of your body will remain constant. Is it clear? Now next point. When the mass is measured with the respect of the force, it is called weight. And this force which I am talking about is gravitational force. So when gravitational force acts on a particular kind of mass, it becomes weight. The next point is about volume. Right now you all must be sitting on your chair or sofa. So you have occupied some amount of space. So this space occupied or the amount of space occupied by a body is called its volume. I hope student till here it's very clear. And one more thing, you all are going to learn these definitions by heart. If possible, you will write them in your notebook and then learn it. Now let's go to the next part. Composition of matter. Now matter is composed of either a pure substance or a combination of pure substance. Now you must be thinking, what is a pure substance? A pure substance has fixed chemical as well as physical properties. Means, for example, if I want to tell elements and compounds, they come in the category of pure substances. Okay. A pure substance forms mixture. What I want to say is, when two or more pure substances, it can be an element or it can be a compound or they can be both, combine physically such that the substances retain their individual properties, the combination is known as a mixture. And these mixtures, they do not have any fixed chemical properties, as the composition of a mixture varies, as it is not a chemical combination and can be easily separated by any physical method of separation. I hope till here it's clear. Now let's move further to the next slide. Now let's talk about elements. First thing about element is of course its definition. An element is a substance that cannot be broken down into simpler substance by any physical or chemical means. There are total 118 elements found so far. For example, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen. These are few examples of elements. And we all know this element is made up of very small tiny particles which we call it as atoms. Atoms are so small that we cannot see through our naked eyes. If you want to see an atom, you have to use a powerful microscope. Now, do you know from where this word atom came? This atom word is derived from a Greek word, atomos. Its meaning is indivisible, that is, it cannot be divided. And Democritus was the person, he was a philosopher who gave this word atomos. Let's go to the next slide. Now, atoms of certain elements join together to form large particles called molecules. You must have heard many a times like molecules of this element, molecule of water and so on, molecule of hydrogen, the one which you can see in the image. Now, these atoms of some elements, when they join, they form a molecule. Example, formation of hydrogen molecule. Atoms of some elements do not have the ability to form molecule, hence they stay single. For example, argon and neon. This type of elements which do not combine with themselves or with any other element, these are known as inert gases or noble gases. There are total 6 inert gases. Few examples you can see on the screen. You can see in the image how two hydrogen atoms have chemically bound to form a hydrogen molecule. Is it clear till here? Let's go to the next slide. After elements, the next part which we are going to study is about compounds. Now, compound is a substance that is formed when two or more elements combine chemically in a fixed proportion. Means what? That few elements, they combine in a fixed proportion to form a compound. Means what? Here, between that two elements, a chemical bond is formed which helps in the formation of a compound. Example, water, carbon dioxide, table salt. That is the normal salt which we eat at our home, which we add in our food, and many more. Compounds have definite composition. The properties of compounds differ that from their constituent element. Means if a compound is made up of suppose A and B, so the compound AB will not show properties similar to A or B. It will vary. The elements of compound can be separated by only chemical methods. Yes, we need only chemical method because chemical bonds are formed in the elements which we need to break. So for separation of a compound, only chemical methods will be required. Let's go further. Here is one example of a compound. What is this? This is a water molecule. Now, water molecule, as we all know, is made up of 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen atom. These 3 atoms combine chemically and form a water molecule. Now, if you see, the properties of water differ from its constituent hydrogen and oxygen. As we all know, water does not support burning, but oxygen supports burning and hydrogen itself is combustible. So you can see the properties of a compound are not matching with the properties of the elements from which it is made up of. I hope till here it's very clear. Now let's go to the next slide. Forces that keep constituents of matter together. Now, we discussed about matter, that how it is formed. Of course, it is formed by the combination of atoms. But to combine this atom, there are many forces which are acting upon. We are going to study about that forces. These forces, when they act upon the matter, they turn that matter into three different states. Means I want to say is matter exists in three forms, that is solid, liquids and gases. There are two more states which are plasma and Bose-Einstein condensate. But this last two we are not going to study now. For your 7th grade, we are going to focus on the first three states of matter. So let's start. An introduction to the states of matter. So these three states of matter: solid, liquid and gas. If you see in the image, you can like if I talk about the solid column, the circles which you can see in the container, consider them as atoms. So in solid, as these atoms are closely packed with one another, there is no much gap between the two atoms. That's why solids always have a fixed shape and a fixed volume. They are rigid. They cannot flow. Okay. And if you see liquid, in liquid again atoms are present, but you can find some gap between two different atoms. Because of this gap, liquids do not have a fixed shape, but yes, they have a fixed volume. Plus, they are not rigid. And the third state of matter, that is about the gases, is if you see these atoms, they are scattered here and there is a large amount of space present between the atoms. And because of this nature, gases do not have fixed shape, neither they have fixed volume. They flow in any direction, upside, downside, right, left, in every direction. Whereas if you talk about liquid, yes, they also flow, but only from a higher level to lower level. Now let's go to the next slide. This is one more image of the comparison between three states of matter. You can just read that few points. Let's go to the next slide. These are few more images which I got for solids. Like solids have a definite volume and a definite shape. Their size remains same. Next one is about liquids. Again, liquids, they do not have fixed shape, but of course they have fixed volume. Gases, when we talk, they neither have fixed shape nor fixed volume. Now the next part which we are going to study is about interconversion of states of matter. Interconversion of states of matter. Do you think matter converts from one state to another state? The answer is yes. Matter has the capability of converting from one state to another state. Matter can change from one state to another by either heating or cooling or by applying pressure. Means some conditions are required to change matter from one state to another state, and that conditions are either we need to heat that matter, or we have to cool it down, or sometime we need to apply pressure so that it will change. So what is the definition of interconversion of states of matter? The change of matter from one state to another due to change in temperature is called matter. Now it can be temperature as well as it can be pressure also. Now you can see one image on your right hand side where you can see how these three states of matter are interconverting amongst themselves, and there are 6 different words like evaporation, condensation, sublimation, deposition, freezing and melting. This all are related to the interconversion of matter. This all are the different processes which happens during interconversion. Now let's move to the next slide. Now dear student, according to the particulate nature of matter, matter is made up of atom. As we know, the arrangement of particles differs in different states of matter depending on, there are few factors on which the arrangement of particles depends, and because of that there are different states of matter. The first one is interparticle force, or you can also call it as interparticle force of attraction. Second one, interparticle space. Third one, Brownian motion, and the fourth one is diffusion. Now let's see what these are in details. The first one, the force of attraction that exists between the particles is called interparticle force. Means what? The atoms which are present in the matter, they always try to attract one another, and this force of attraction which is present between the particle, that is called as interparticle force. The second point is about cohesive force. It is a part of interparticle force. Let's see what it is. The interparticle force between the same type of particles is known as cohesive force. Means if particles are same or of same type and they are exerting a kind of force, that is known as cohesive force. Third one, the space that exists between the particles is known as interparticle space. As we have seen in the previous diagram, that round circles which I called as atom, when these atoms have some space between them, okay, means if there is a space between two atoms, that space you will call it as interparticle space. For example, in our school, in the classroom, all the desks or the benches are arranged in row. So the gap between two rows, you can call it as interparticle space, correct? Same like that, the gap between two atoms is called as interparticle space. The fourth one is about Brownian motion. Now listen carefully. The erratic random movement of particles in the matter, especially fluids, as a result of continuous bombardment from the particles of that matter and the particles of the surrounding matter, is called Brownian movement. Means what? Whenever these atoms are present in the matter and they are in a continuous motion, so what these atoms will do? They will start colliding or bombarding with one another, and they will also bombard with the container, you can say the atoms of the container in which they are present or the surrounding area. So this movement, the erratic movement, means this sudden movement or the zigzag movement of the atoms, is known as Brownian motion. The fifth point which we are going to study is about the intermixing of substances by the natural movement of these particles, is called diffusion. Now just consider, if I took one glass of water, okay, just imagine I took one glass of water and now I will take ink. I will put 4 to 5 drops of ink into that water and keep it as it is. What will happen? The water will become colorful. Why this happened? Can you give the answer? Of course it happened because of diffusion. Means what? The atoms or the particles which were present in the ink, they start to diffuse or they started to mix up with the water particles. Okay, so I hope you are clear with what is diffusion. Diffusion is the intermixing of the substances by natural movement of their particles. Means here we are not putting any external pressure. Naturally they are intermixing with one another and diffusion process is happening. I hope till here it is clear. Now dear student, let's go to the next slide. Brownian motion and diffusion are fastest in gases and reduces as we move from gas to liquid to solid. Means what? If you bring image of these three states of matter in front of your eyes, that is solid, liquid and gases, and if you see the movement of the particles, means the movement of atoms which are present in them, you will see that in the gases the atoms are moving very fast, whereas in solid they are just vibrating on their mean position, they will not leave their position, whereas in liquid there will be little movement. The second point is, in solids particles are tightly packed. And why they are tightly packed? Because of strong interparticle force and very little interparticle space. Means if you see a solid right now, your laptop or mobile, if you try to press it, squeeze it, has it changed the shape? No. Why? Because all the atoms or the particles which are present in them, they are very strongly and very tightly packed with one another, not leaving even a little amount of interparticle space. That's why you can't change the shape of the solid just by applying a little amount of pressure. Then comes the third part, or the third point is about liquids. Now in liquids the particles are loosely packed as compared to solids. Yes, they are loosely packed. And why this happen? Because of the weak interparticle force and large interparticle space. Means what? The force of attraction between the atoms of the liquids is weak or less as compared to a solid, and because of this reason the interparticle space automatically increases, and that's why there is some gap between the particles of the liquids. The particles are very loosely packed because of least interparticle force and maximum interparticle space, and this is the reason why liquids do not have fixed shape. Now let's go to the next slide. Okay, here we end our session of today. I hope you all have understood. If you have any doubt, you will just call me or message me, and before that I think you will read the lesson one more time. Still if any doubt is there, you will ask me. Okay dear student, have a nice day ahead and keep learning. Bye bye.